Hey everyone, I'm Michaela L. Carson. I'm an author and spiritual growth coach. And for Talk About It Tuesday on this episode, we're with Jennifer Underwood, who is a designer and content creator. And we're going to talk about branding and marketing and how we can use Canva as a resource as authors. So Jennifer, why don't you tell us a little bit about you?
Well, I have been designing and creating for many years now. I have been a small business owner for over 27 years and a lot of in the home space, whether it's creating home decor and gifts for the home, also interior decorations and stuff too. But also I love to do digital creations and creating things that can help small businesses, and whether it's flyers or business cards, anything like that. So I love doing creations and just creating things of beauty, I guess, is kind of what, yeah, I enjoy doing.
I was on your website yesterday and I was looking at some of your options and I was like, oh, I need to do some wedding shopping for my daughter.
Yes, I love doing personalized,
Yes.
yeah, gifts and decor. I think that, yeah, those are really special.
So that's awesome. I love, and my daughter has a very unusual spelling for her name. So finding anything with her name is almost impossible. And so it's an unusual name to
Yeah.
start with, but then the spelling as well. So anyway, love what you do. Super excited to have you with us today. The first thing I want to touch on before we jump into Canva specifically, just for those of you who, I know a lot of you are new writers, new authors, and I want to talk really quickly about why branding is important and what it means for you as a writer. The, the primary purpose of branding and marketing in general is to establish your message and to help you stand out from others. In the marketing world, it's called your competition. Obviously, we're kingdom builders, so we don't have competition in that sense. But we do want to stand out where people can see our content or our information and be like, oh, that's different than this person's. And they can identify you by the way you market yourself and the way you market, more importantly, the message that God's given you. One of the great things about branding is that it creates an easier way to create content. We're going to talk about that in a minute too. But when you have like a brand for yourself, you have colors, you have a scheme, you have a vibe, you have fonts chosen. When you go to actually create things, you don't have to think about that because it's already established. And then you just have to worry and focus on your message and your writing, which we know is the heart of what we love. So when we create a brand for ourselves, it actually simplifies the marketing down the road. Couple of things to think about as you're developing your brand. Consider the genre that you're writing in. That's going to be important. If you're writing women's lit, you probably don't want to go with blacks and grays. Those are not generally feminine colors that associate with women's lit. If you're writing a devotional, you may want to go with, if you're using an image, for my book, Deeper, if there was a tree analogy. So I use a tree in a lot of my branding because deeper growth is the message that God's given me. So think through that. You also want to be mindful of your writing style. When you're creating content or marketing materials, whether it's a flyer or a social media post, it should sound like the book you wrote. The writing style should be the same. You don't want to sound like someone else. You want to sound like you. So lean into how you are uniquely gifted as a writer. Lean into your values and your faith, in your personality. All of that needs to come through with your brand. So if you hate the color pink and you write women's lit, don't use pink. Use purple or use a different
Mhm.
feminine color, but don't go against what's natural to you either because it's not going to feel like you. So there's some tips for that. But let's jump into more about branding and specifically Jennifer's Canva expert. So I've got her here. We're going to talk about how to use Canva for marketing your message, for branding, all of those things. One of the great things I love about Canva, and oh, let me give this quick disclaimer. Jennifer and I both use Canva Pro, which is the paid version. So everything we talk about is available in the Canva Pro version. If you have the free version, some of these things might not be accessible to you, or there might be an extra charge for them, depending on what level of your membership is. So just be mindful of that. Okay, so how can we use like just right from the beginning? What is one of the things that you think is important to know about Canva?
Well, I think it's a very user-friendly platform. But it also can be confusing and frustrating, at times and stuff too. And that's kind of why I enjoy helping other, small business owners and creators and stuff kind of figure out how to work Canva, because once you do, you'll fall in love with it. I mean, it makes creating for your business so much more fun, and easy. They're adding more things. Like you said, in the Pro, you have a brand kit. That is all in there. And in the free version, it's a limited, so you can have some colors in there, but you can't have your logo. You can't have, just different things like that.
Okay.
But there are workarounds,
Yeah.
for that.
What's great about the brand kit that I love, like I mentioned, you don't have to think about it, is when you choose text that says heading, it's going to put your
Yes.
brand in. And when you choose a
Yes.
new thing, it's going to automatically put in what you've told it as part of who your brand is. So I love that. I don't have to go back and double check my fonts. I don't have to like, I just know that it is jumping in with me. Sorry.
And
There's someone in
and
the
and
waiting
it
room. Hold on a
and any
second.
images, your headshots or your logos, you can add so much to the brand kit that is right there at your fingertips. So that way you can easily get to them, and then your creation process, then your time, it kind of helps it, I guess is not so much time in that, you not think about it. Like you said, picking your colors. If you have all of that already in your brand kit, it makes creating a lot faster and fun. So yeah.
Another outstanding thing about Canva is there are so many templates for
Yes.
literally anything under the sun. So if
Yes.
you need to create a brand kit, type in the search box brand kits, and there's a template for how to
Yes.
create your brand kit. And you just go in and change the colors to your colors. And I mean, there's literally I have yet to search for something and not find a template at this point.
Yes.
Like it is amazing. And they're always adding new templates. So instead of looking at that blank white screen, and we all know as writers what that feels like to look at a white screen and you're not sure what to type. Same thing applies to design. You can look at that white screen and just kind of freeze and be like, I don't know what to do. And so you can scroll through the templates and get some inspiration and a starting point, which I think is hugely helpful.
And I think that's the thing to remember, is using it as for inspiration and a starting point, but make sure that you create it into, make sure your own brand colors, your own voice, your own, that it actually portrays, your business and what you're trying to do.
Mhm.
Don't just use just the template and change a couple of words and then call it done. Actually,
And
it gives it a starting point. Like you said, it's a great starting point.
if you've used Canva, I think we've all seen those at some point or another online where it's like, oh, that's the same post I saw the other day from
Oh, hey,
someone
I saw
else.
that.
You don't
Yes.
want, again, that goes back to branding. You want to look
Yep.
different. So use a template, but mix it up, change it a little bit, make it your own. Now, there are different types of formats that we use on social media when we're marketing. And as you're
Yes.
getting into marketing your book and stuff, those are all things that we want to be mindful of. There's posts and carousels and reels and probably a bunch of other ones that I'm not even up to date on anymore. So, Jennifer, what can Canva do as far as like the different types of social media?
They can pretty much do all of it. Even YouTube videos, PowerPoint presentations. They, even if you're on Pinterest, Pinterest pins, if you're, trying to
Really?
promote your books and stuff on there. But and they have all the sizing in Canva. So it makes it really easy that you can search for what you're going to be creating, and they already have the right size for what you're designing, so you don't have to go and find that size and then try to create it. And when you click on it, then it also gives you all the templates, ideas and inspirations for that certain design, and it's easy to change those designs. So there's an option to where you can change and resize. So even if you do it in one, you can then even create that in 3 other different sizes, that same design, easily too. So that's a neat
That's
feature.
one of my favorite things about Pro. And I do know that that's a
Yes.
Pro feature because
Yes,
it's
it
the
is
reason I
definitely.
finally upgraded to Pro because we were
Yes.
creating content that needed 4 or 5 different formats.
Yeah.
And it was ridiculous to try to recreate them all. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a huge that reason alone because you can change it from a Facebook post to an Instagram to a flyer if you want
To
to.
LinkedIn, to your
Yeah, I mean,
Google, to yeah. Yeah.
so definitely worth it. Um,
Yeah.
Now you'd mentioned, I'm just curious because you'd mentioned we talked about Reels briefly, and then you mentioned like YouTube videos and stuff. How does the video aspect of Canva work? Because I haven't used that yet myself.
It works really good. In fact, in my group that I just started, to help business owners with Canva, I just posted that the video on organization and everything. And so a lot of my videos, I do, if I'm showing what's on the screen, I'll use Loom to record, and then I'll use Canva to actually edit and add animations and things like
To
that.
make it
um
pretty.
yes, and make it pretty and add the thumbnails on the front and the back and everything like that. And then I go ahead and post it to YouTube. That way it's out there, because sometimes on any other social media platforms and stuff, they'll the video isn't as clear. They don't do the I guess the best resolution of the
The
video.
rendering part of it, yeah.
Yes, yes. And so so I've been using YouTube, because I'll do the videos even on my blogs and stuff too. I'll put a link or an embed a YouTube, video link into my blog. That way it has to be housed somewhere. So that's how I just recently have started kind of doing some of that, and that's worked really well.
And I've just switched over to YouTube myself with some stuff. So I'll do like Zoom recordings, but then I definitely find out better quality when I upload directly to YouTube. So that
Yes.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so it can do video. Now,
Yes.
even like video like with like you, like not just like screen shares, but also like I
Yes.
could get on and record or whatever.
Yeah, so
Okay.
you can do videos, and even just using pictures to create a video. So if you have several still shots, you can add transitions, and it'll create a video. So a lot of the reels, whether it's transitioning wording into a still picture, or if it's several different pictures that you're putting together. So you can create videos that way. You can add music and audio. I mean, really, the possibilities are endless.
And that's really important for book launching because you can do like if you've seen any of like the book trailers that are trending now that a lot of people are doing book
Yes.
trailers, or you can actually create that yourself in Canva.
Yeah.
So social media wise, it's a game changer. And like I said, the being able to convert sizes to all of the platforms that you use.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing too. Like I don't want something that's going to give me an Instagram if I'm not on Instagram. I want to be able to choose what I'm using, and it gives you that creativity and flexibility to do that, which I think is fabulous. Um, so a couple of other things that Canva does outside of just regular social media posts, which I think is where most of us are experienced with it. It's becoming more popular, and I have a couple of Talk About It Tuesdays on cover design. If you want those, I'll throw those in the links. But cover design is super, super important, you guys. So I'm not saying that you should design your own cover, but what you can do is use Canva to create a concept of a book cover. If you are a designer and you have some graphic design background, maybe you could do your own, but you really want it to be professional, and it'd be very easy to not. But there are templates on Canva for book covers. And so what I suggest to people is go on there and play around with it, get some ideas of how you might want your cover to look, and then you can share those concepts with your designer, and they can artistically develop that into a professional looking cover. Do you have any background or experience with the covers or have you looked at the templates at all in there that they have?
I
Jennifer?
haven't. I do, like I said, I do a lot of my own, from the ground up,
Yeah.
so I haven't looked at a lot of those, but I know that, like you said, you can find templates for all kinds of different things. The other inspiration that I like to go, of course, is Pinterest, or just even Googling different covers, and then just to get some ideas. So when I'm helping someone create a cover for a journal, or, and stuff,
Mhm.
then I ask them to actually kind of create maybe a Pinterest board for me, of what they like, or colors of something that they like and they want to use in that design. And that was one of the features I was going to mention. And to be honest, I think this is only a pro as well, is the whiteboard in Canva. Definitely check the whiteboard out, because what it can offer, and it has so many templates as well, but it's not limited in space or size. So you
Hmm.
can zoom out. So it is a like a huge whiteboard that you can add ideas and stuff to, for brainstorming, mind mapping. It has sticky notes, and I'm a sticky note person, so I love using sticky notes. So you throw sticky notes on the board with notes, and it's great for collaborating. Another great feature that Canva offers is, like you had mentioned, if you're working with a designer for your covers, you can share in Canva
Yes.
to another person, and they can either, you can either give them rights to edit and view it, or just to view, designs and stuff too. So that's another great feature. But the whiteboard, it also has like a to-do list, or a Kanban board. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Hmm.
Where, then you have the templates in there, so most of them say, I think, to do, in progress, or done. But for authors, it could be like outlined, drafted, revised, edited. You can, and then you can have your own space on that whiteboard. And if you're working with other people, they know where things are, or you can put notes, or you can leave. And so it's a collaboration board, or it can be just for you, as well. But that's another great feature that I've recently kind of been playing with, and I'm loving it, because you can kind of follow. Maybe if you're working on a course, you can kind of follow what you're working on, from beginning to end. Same thing, I guess, with books, and stuff, when you're starting your drafts, or, and so it kind of helps that flow. And they have flow charts, and they have all kinds of things in there. So that's another great feature.
I'm really glad you brought that up because I've seen the whiteboard and I've been a little intimidated to try it because I wasn't sure exactly what it was for and how it works. So thank you for sharing that
Yes,
because immediately as a writer, I'm thinking plotting and character development
exactly.
and
It's
outlining and
maybe
scene
some graphic
concept.
ideas.
Oh
Yes.
yeah. And
You
if you
can
could
throw
throw
anything in
anything
there.
on it, you could throw
Yes.
your images if you're a writing fiction and you have like inspo pictures for your characters or whatever,
Yep.
you can, that's a really neat thing.
Kind of like
And
a
if it's
brain dump, I call it. You
yeah.
just kind of brain
Well, and
dump
there's a lot
into
of brain
it.
dumping and writing.
Yes. And then you can kind of organize it, and it's so big. I mean, you can zoom out or zoom in, so you can do so much on it. So
Okay.
yeah, it's a neat feature.
I'm excited to check that out. That's a new one for
Yes.
me. I'm excited. Okay. The other thing that I have been mentioning to a lot of my newer clients who are publishing their first book, they're not necessarily looking to build a marketplace on their website. They're strictly just wanting to have a professional website with a place to buy their book. And what I have actually been steering people towards is Canva because have you worked with their websites yet?
I have not.
Okay.
I know it's mainly because there's a lot of restrictions to it, I think, from what I've seen and looked into, because someone else was asking me about that. It's a great landing page. I mean, you can
Yes.
definitely design for landing pages. Um, but I haven't seen, like, I don't think you can sell off of it. It's not one that, like, if you're trying to sell something, but I think,
Right. For a business
you know,
person, it would not work for
right,
sure.
right.
But
Yeah.
for an author, and
Yes,
who needs a single page website, and you can't
exactly.
sell from it in the sense of doing e-commerce, but
Right.
you can
But
have a
you
link
can
that says buy my
direct.
book and it takes them to
Exactly.
Amazon.
Yes,
So
yes, you can direct
um
them.
so
Yes,
I
yes.
created a Canva website and I was nervous about it back in January.
Oh,
Well, it was
yeah.
the end of last year for a conference I was doing. And I'd bought the domain and I was like, you know what? I don't want to build out a huge website. This is a one-time event. I just want to be able to create a website. And so I was like, I'm going to try Canva. And it was one of the easiest things I've ever done. I could not believe how, for someone who's done website design,
Yes,
simple it was.
yeah.
And for that purpose, so if your primary purpose is to have an about me page and to share about your book and have a link for people to buy it, I highly recommend considering Canva. If it's not the right fit for you, that's okay, but it is so simple and intuitive. I was just shocked at how well it worked. And I would say this, if you have a blog, because that was one of the questions I've gotten asked by a few people, you could keep your blog at WordPress or wherever you're housing your blog now, Wix, whatever. And you could create the Canva page. And just like you have a button that says, buy my book, you could have a button that says, read my blog. and
Yeah.
it would redirect them to your blog. So you wouldn't have to pull all, when you switch websites, usually you have to pull all your content, reload it to the new site. This wouldn't be something where you're necessarily doing that. You would just be redirecting them to your blog.
Hmm.
So
Yes.
if you're looking for something that gives you a professional edge, kind of goes along with your branding, but you don't want to have to like update copy all the time, and it's just kind of something you want to put out there to add to your credibility and your professionalism, I definitely would look at Canva for that. I'm trying to think what else I've used in Canva that's been helpful.
I was
You
going to say,
can't, oh,
do
go ahead.
you do like PowerPoint presentations? Are they called slide decks,
Yep.
and stuff? I know that's, a lot of people use it for that. Um, your handouts or business flyers, anything that you have for book promotion, if you're, in a bookstore or whatever, those
Yeah.
handouts and
Or
stuff, Canvas,
or
that.
postcards or anything that you want
Yes.
to. I will say this too. I've printed with Canva. I've done their business cards. I actually use their business cards. I've done
Uh-huh.
postcards through Canva. The quality of their printing is really outstanding. So I do recommend them from that end also. I've done the slides, the PowerPoint type format.
Yes.
And what's nice about it with that resize feature is I was able to take my slides and resize them into my handouts and just make a
Yes.
few adjustments to the layout a little bit, add some lines where I wanted people to be able to write. And it was very cohesive. So I only had to design it once and then just resize it. So that's if you're doing any kind of speaking or presentations, if you're going to be speaking um, at a conference or a school or anything like that, that's a great option as well.
Yes, and it has where you can save those slide presentations. You can say actually as a PowerPoint presentation, you can
Mhm.
actually save it as a PowerPoint. So if there's some people that are just like, oh, I'd rather do, it will save as a PowerPoint presentation. So that way it views it, when you're showing it and stuff too. So, yeah, that's great. Business cards, website graphics, and stuff too.
Yeah.
I use it a lot to create graphics and stuff for websites. Um, and then mock-ups. That's the other, I think, is great for any small business product, or, I think authors and stuff too, because they have a lot of mock-ups for books or for ebooks that you can easily, put your designs and stuff in there. And then that way you can promote them
So what a
there.
mock-up is, for those of you who aren't familiar, what a mock-up is it's basically an image where it looks like a book cover, it looks like a phone, or it looks like a painting on a wall, and you
Yep.
drop your image into that space, and it looks. And I use these a lot. You'll see them on my posts. Um, and what it does is it creates. And so sometimes when you create your book cover, the designer will do those for you, which is great. But if you don't have that service included with your package or whatever, you can do your own very easily through there, and it'll give you different types of books. If you're doing the ebook, it can show it on a cell phone, show it on a tablet, those kinds of things too. So it's
Mhm.
a lot of fun to play with, and they're adding more of those all the time too, I feel like.
Yes, they are. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, we're getting close to our time, and it looks like we do have um a, at least one person with us right now, so I want to give them time for questions and answers. But before we jump over to the Q&A, I do want to let you guys know, Jennifer mentioned it, but she has a Facebook group. What's the official name of it? I don't remember off the top of my head. I'm sorry.
Purposeful Designs
Yeah.
is the name of it. And it just says it's Canva for Christian entrepreneurs. And maybe we can drop the link or
Yes,
or whatever
absolutely.
to it. But it's a free group, and I just started it. I just really felt like the Lord calling me just to help other small and business owners. I've been using Canva for a long time. I have a lot of people that would just ask me questions and need help. And I thought, well, maybe if we start a group, we can kind of help each other grow
Mhm.
in this, because Canva added a lot of new changes this year. And some of them I like, and some of them are a little harder to figure out. And so I think just being able to work together and kind of cheering each other on to be able to be creative in our, small businesses and stuff too. So yeah, so I started that, and it's just Purposeful Designs Canva for Christian Entrepreneurs on Facebook.
And
Um,
I recommend the group. I'm in it. That's how I met Jennifer and we connected. So
yes.
she does great. She'll do little teaching things in there that are super helpful when you're new to especially if you're new to Canva. But you can post questions and yeah, it's a great group. So I will definitely throw that link in the comments. Also, tell us a little bit about the services that you provide in terms of the done for you and, a consult call and things like that.
Yeah. So the other thing that I just recently started was I know that there are several that have told me, hey, I would like to learn how to, I've had Canva, I'd like to learn how to design in there. I just don't have the time. A lot of I've worked with ones that are like done for you services. So I do offer those for those times that you just don't have the time to create something, or the creativity just isn't there. I also am offering a service. If it's like me, I love to have someone that I'm very visual learner. And so I love to have someone there that can just show me how to do it. And then I'll catch on, and then I can run from there. So I'm offering also those help sessions that I can just, if you're stuck in a design, or you have a design in your head, maybe that you're just not sure how to create it, or where to start, then I can help through that process. And that way you can see how to maneuver in Canva, and create it yourself, and then so you can learn new things as we work together on that. So those are two services. And it's on my website, and I think it's, whoops, this away.
Oh.
JU Design, JUDesignsKS.com is my website, and those services are just under services. So if you click on that, then you'll see in more detail, on those two options.
Okay. And I'll throw that in the comments as well. So we'll have your
Yes.
group and your website. Um, let's go ahead. And before we jump over to questions, I just want to say thank you. I'm so glad you were here. I learned something new. I'm excited to try out whiteboards.
Yes.
So
Oh, I know. It's fun.
it's going to be good. But thank you for your time this afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's afternoon still.